What's up everyone, Riley here, and welcome back to Overkill Reviews. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe, give us a like, and make sure to check out the Patreon. I should add before I start today that Sam Dunn wanted to hop on this album, but he's a busy man, so I'm here to talk about Enslaved's new album, Heimdal, out March 3rd, 2023 on Nuclear Blast. Formed in Norway in 1991, Enslaved started off as black metal straight shooters, but I'm sure, as many of us know, they've changed and explored and developed their sound, and now they're definitely more of a progressive band. This is their 16th full-length album with no signs of slowing down, and they have their own roots in banger as well, with a Headbanger's Journey, an episode of extreme metal, and a couple of previous reviews on later albums. Imagery and lyrical content. I'm going to start here because this is exactly where the album starts. It kicks off with a song called Behind the Mirror, and the first bit we get is the sound of water slapping, which I'm going to assume is paddles hitting the water, and the sound of distant horns, which are actually done by the guy in Wardruna, and I think that's pretty cool. That is the first thing we're given, is this image in our head. And when I think Enslaved, I automatically get mental pictures of Norse mythology, Scandinavia, paganism, so in the first 30 seconds, we're transported to this place of enslaved. So now we have these mental pictures, and then we have the story of musicianship, and we blend these two things together, and we are given a full experience rather than one or the other. So right off the bat, Enslaved is boosting themselves past many other bands and giving us more, which takes this album to a whole other level. So now that they have your attention, and I started to flow through the album, I could see these very distinct areas and regions of songs that they would take and then move to a different spot in another song, which led to a level of unpredictability and sort of kept me on my toes. I feel like the song Congelia is a really good example of this. So it starts off with this really old school enslaved death metal sound, and then at about 2.5 minutes in, the riffs get a little bit more progressive and kind of funky. The next section, it feels like they take these two dynamics and they overlap them. Then from there, we're taken to another section at about the 6-minute mark, where we have these awesome cleans and these beautiful melodies, and then from there, we're taken to another section, which is the outro, and it's this really nice, choral, soft ending to the song. Now, every song on this album has these chunks and sections, but they're in different places, leading me to be able to anticipate the things that I want to hear, but it doesn't have the flaws of being too predictable. So hidden within these building blocks, there's a lot of random shit that I never expected to see on an Enslaved album, and it's so exciting, it's refreshing, and it takes this album to a whole other level. I'm going to tell you about some of them. Roll call! There's a keyboard solo in the middle of the song, Forest Dweller, which just gives it such an awesome dynamic to the mix and to the song. Those horns that you hear at the beginning of Behind the Mirror follow through the whole album to some degree, which gives you really great progression and connection between the whole album. Caravans of the Outer World is somewhat thrashy with the speed and pattern, a cosmic Viking enslaved, if you will. There's spoken word breaks on this album that just give it that extra like oomph of power, you know? In the song Heimdal, there's the coolest synths that I didn't see coming. In the middle of the song, there's a drum break where Ivor Sandoy is just hammering that ride bell, and it's so fun. This, to me, is fresh perspective from Enslaved, and for a band that's going for 30 plus years now, come on. It's so good. There is no signs of them slowing down. Production and mix. This whole album has the super bouncy and fun bass tone. The mix matches the tempos and changes with the tone of guitar and bass or wherever they're taking it. The production is superb, and like I said, there's all of these minor little things, but the little things matter at the end of the album, because when I listen back, I go, oh, that was cool. Ooh, that little thing was cool. It's just great. It's fun. And the album only has 7 songs that all clock in at about 5 or 6 minutes, so it prevents it from dragging on too long without it losing its zazz. I also think at first glance, it can look like there's a lot of random shit going on here and a lot of little weird things, but it's actually a very well thought out album with placement, whether that be riff placement or area placement or song placement. They just know where to put it and where to put it well. And it is still just so enslaved. We have those really awesome harsh vocals from Grutel and the very beautiful cleans that are paired with them from Hakan, and then they always do that like back and forth riffing that they're known for. It is so good. So for a band that's been at it for over 30 years, they clearly still have stuff left in the tank. And I think none of this feels like they are out of inspiration, and compared to the last couple of Enslaved albums, it even feels like they have more to give. There's some new inspiration here. It's fresh ideas, and I love that. So with all that, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 skulls today on Overkill Reviews. Let's get into my shoutout. So first up, I have Invicta, which are a melodic death thrash band from Kitchener, Ontario. Their album Triumph and Torment is coming out on March 31st. It is a self-release that is also pairing with Sublevel Records. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. I love this one. This is Crusty Old Toad with King Cryptid, out February 24th, 2023. It's just a one-man project, and he is Todorus Crusticus. It's like post-black metal, but make it toady. I love it. Check it out. And Australia's Knee Obliviscaris hasn't had an album come out since 2017, but they have a new one coming out on March 24th, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. Thanks for coming to hang. I hope you guys enjoy the new Enslaved.